Yeah, well, I mean, I think we should, people should try to, leaders should think about their countries and about why it's important that they should let new ideas emerge and evolve and change. And you can't do it if you're in power forever. You cannot. So I think, Mr. Obama had very strong messages for Kenyans, for Africans as a whole, and I think for himself as a human being.
Firstly, let me say that it was a pleasure for Kenyans to finally have Obama visit Kenya during his presidency. And believe it or not, we're hoping he comes back again before he leaves the presidency. His coming has had several interesting influences on us people in Kenya, particularly regarding how we Kenyans address the issues in our country, like tribalism. He was quite particular about that, like the issue on women and youth and how they must be part of the decision-making process of the country. And all this we took and listened to very carefully because it's not an issue we talk about so easily amongst ourselves. He also gave us the feeling that if Kenya is looked at clearly and fairly, the potential for our growth increasing and our country stabilizing is literally unlimited, given that Kenya has most neighbors in very awkward situations like Somalia, Southern Sudan, for that matter Ethiopia, South Ethiopia. And we are very grateful to hear him talk to us so straightforward, simple, logically, and quite clearly. One thing he did say that we did not talk about was corruption. That is an issue which is prevalent in the continent, not just to Kenya. However, he talked about it as a matter of fact and said that it is affecting the growth of this country. And if it is addressed, we will benefit greatly from it. I also agree with him in principle. In practice, there are some few limitations I must always be conscious of. For instance, the Americans and the British and the Europeans, when they deal with us, it is different from the way the Chinese do. The Chinese deal with us the way we are comfortable with no condition. And the developed countries in the West and America tend to deal with us under their terms and conditions. I am not saying anything about corruption. I am saying the handling of the dealings of those two super blocks in regard to Kenya and probably the rest of Africa has a great influence in how we handle our own matters. Yes, amongst ourselves we give favor according to tribe mainly. If that is corruption, then it is prevalent everywhere. We are absolutely tribal. What is helping us contain that a bit is probably education, and some intermarriage, and then globalization. I would think tribalism will still be a problem, but it will be contained a bit more with time. So there is still hope for Kenya to be a progressive country with fewer problems. Obama has helped increase our awareness in these matters, and I commend his trip. And he was quite fair and blunt with us, yet he was socially respectful. He was as if he behaved as if he had some genuine interest in Kenya, morally, socially. It was good.
And the question of human rights about homosexuality?
Like most Kenyans, that is a topic which I regard as a non-issue. Not because I don't understand it. I have traveled around the world enough and seen it all over. And for that matter, I have had one or two friends who are of that group. But provided people do their things in private, I don't think it should be a major issue. Some people are born, quote unquote, with a tendency to have that nature. So why can they not be the same as us, equal to us? It is just an issue which culturally, tribally, can be quite complicated without even handling religion on it. Particularly if you put proper Christianity and quote unquote proper Islam, then it becomes quite complicated. If these issues are dealt with by people privately, then I have no problem at all.
Obama's visit, I think, has been a godsend to Kenya. I think for the average Kenyan person, it has really uplifted our spirits in terms of putting Kenya on the world map. As you all know, we have faced a lot of challenges, especially with insecurity. And I think Obama's visit completely underscores the fact that, Kenya is safe and is open for business. Corruption in Kenya is definitely a problem, and I believe Obama has given us a challenge to address this. I sincerely hope that our leaders and actually even just the common mwananchi will do their best to rise above it, to rise above, the temptation. It's always a temptation, but I think at this point the country has gathered so much positive momentum that it's about time that we tackle corruption squarely. So I am hopeful that our leaders will take up the challenge and try to do the best that they can within their means. Well, I mean, the auditor's report, it's still undergoing scrutiny, but I think it definitely shows that there are significant underlying problems. So this is only the start, but I believe with the attention that it has received, especially coming just right after Obama's visit, I hope the leaders will take action on this because now we know the world is watching. Therefore, this is no longer just a Kenyan problem, but the world is watching to see what we do about it. Therefore, I'm hopeful that steps will be taken to address either the inaccuracies in the report or resolve some of those fundamental issues. I'm very proud of President Obama. I believe, he has stayed consistent. And what he spoke about in terms of human rights for all Kenyans, that is something that is enshrined in our constitution. Therefore, I have no problem with ensuring that all Kenyans obtain or are treated the way they should be treated under the constitution. Obviously, every country is different. However, I think if you look at Africa as a whole, we are now the only continent that has a very young demographic. Therefore, if you're a leader, you need to be aware to your population, and the young people are going to continue pushing for term limits. Therefore, whichever leaders are out there, I think it's a risk, and I hope they can all heed the call of their people, which is in most countries in Africa, the young people pushing for change. Hi everyone, this is Martha Osier from Nairobi, and I'm calling all of you to watch Vox Africa, your Pan-African TV station.